My mother's love. The kind of love that breathes for you. In 2026, in the quiet but weathered neighborhood of South Oakwood, Chicago, love did not come loudly. It lived in small apartments, second-hand furniture, and the smell of food cooked long after exhaustion should have won. For Malik Anderson, love had one face. His mother's. Denise Anderson woke every day before the sun, not because she wanted to, but because the world demanded it. The alarm on her cracked phone rang at 4:45 a.m. every morning, and no matter how tired her bones were, she never hit snooze twice. Malik used to watch her from the hallway when he was younger. She would sit on the edge of the bed, shoulders slumped, whispering a prayer under her breath. God, just get us through today. She worked 2 jobs, one as a hospital cleaner during the day, another as a night caregiver for an elderly woman across town. She smelled like disinfectant and lavender soap. Her hands were always rough, but when she touched Malik's face, it felt like safety. Malik grew up knowing struggle, but never neglect. Denise made sure of that. Even when the fridge was nearly empty, she found a way to make food feel like abundance. She cut apples into perfect slices. She warmed leftover rice like it was fresh. She smiled even when her eyes carried storms. You're rich, she used to tell Malik. He'd laugh. We are. Yes, she said, tapping his chest. Because you're loved. His father left when Malik was 6. No goodbye. No explanation. Just absence. Denise never spoke badly about him. That's still your father, she said whenever Malik asked. But I'm your parent. And she was. Fully. By the time Malik turned 16, he understood something important. Love could be loud, or it could be sacrificial. His mother's love was the kind that never asked for applause. When Malik got accepted into a magnet high school across the city, Denise didn't hesitate, even though the commute would cost money they didn't have. I'll figure it out, she said. She always did. She sold her old jewelry, took extra night shifts, skipped meals without telling him. Malik noticed the weight loss before she admitted anything. You're not eating, he accused one evening. She smiled. I ate at work. He didn't believe her. That night, Malik made a promise in silence. One day, I'll give you rest. He studied harder than he ever had. Graduated with honors. Won a partial scholarship. Worked part-time jobs. Took loans he didn't fully understand. Denise cried at his graduation, not loudly, but deeply. You did it, she whispered. No, Malik said. We did. By 2026, Malik Anderson was no longer the skinny boy from South Oakwood. He was a tech consultant, a startup advisor, a man with his own apartment downtown and a growing reputation. People admired his discipline, his calm, his refusal to brag. But few knew where it came from. Denise still lived in the same apartment. Malik begged her to move. I like my neighbors, she said, and I like knowing where I came from. So instead, Malik upgraded everything quietly. He paid her rent without telling her, fixed her plumbing, replaced her old couch, bought her a better phone and pretended it was a gift from church. She suspected. Mothers always do. One evening, she looked at him closely and asked, You're not carrying the whole world alone, are you? Malik smiled. I learned from the best. She shook her head. Promise me something. What? Don't forget to live while you're trying to repay love. He didn't answer. Because he didn't know how. It started with fatigue. Denise brushed it off. Just tired, she said. Then came dizziness. Missed shifts. A fainting spell at work. Malik rushed to the hospital, the same one she cleaned for years. The doctor's words felt unreal. Chronic kidney failure. Advanced. Malik sat frozen. How long? He asked. The doctor hesitated. Denise reached for Malik's hand. Her grip was still strong. We'll fight, she said calmly. Malik nodded, but inside, fear cracked something open. For the first time in his life, he realized something terrifying. Love could be taken. Dialysis became routine. 3 times a week. Early mornings. Long hours. Malik rearranged his life without complaint. He canceled trips. Declined promotions. Sat beside her during treatments, pretending not to notice how tired she was. Denise never complained. Instead, she joked with nurses. Asked Malik if he was eating well. Reminded him to rest. One day, as the machine hummed beside her, she said quietly, "Promise me something else." Malik's throat tightened. "Stop doing that. Promise me," she insisted. "What?" "If the day comes when I can't fight anymore, don't let grief steal your future." Tears filled his eyes. "Don't talk like that," he said. She smiled, the same smile that raised him. "My love for you doesn't end because my body does." Malik broke down for the first time in years. She held him, still holding him. The transplant list was a cruel place to live. Numbers. Probabilities. Waiting. Malik learned a new language. Creatinine levels, donor matches, insurance codes. He spoke fluently with doctors and quietly with God. Every phone call made his heart race. Every silence felt heavier. Denise noticed. "You're carrying fear like a backpack," she told him one afternoon as they sat in the dialysis center. "Put it down sometimes." "How?" Malik asked. "By trusting that love doesn't abandon us halfway." She said it so easily, like someone who had already made peace with outcomes Malik wasn't ready to imagine. One night, Malik filled out donor paperwork without telling her. When she found out, she was furious. "You don't get to risk your health for me," she said sharply. "I get to love you," he replied. They stared at each other, 2 stubborn hearts shaped by sacrifice. In the end, the doctors ruled him out as a match. Malik didn't know whether to feel relief or guilt. Denise squeezed his hand. "See, I told you. I didn't raise you to disappear." Illness has a way of summoning people. Relatives Malik barely knew began calling. Cousins. An aunt from Detroit. Even his father, after 20 years of silence. Denise listened quietly when Malik told her. "What do you want to do?" she asked. "I don't know," Malik said honestly. "Then protect your peace," she replied. "You don't owe access just because we share blood." When his father finally visited, the room felt tight. "I heard you've done well," the man said, avoiding Malik's eyes. Denise sat upright in the bed, calm but watchful. "You didn't hear I raised him alone," she said softly. The man shifted uncomfortably. Denise didn't argue. She didn't accuse. She simply spoke truth. After he left, Malik apologized for the tension. She shook her head. "I didn't shield you from truth growing up. I won't start now." One rainy evening, Denise asked Malik to sit with her. "I want to tell you something I never did," she said. He listened as she spoke about dreams she once had, college she never finished, music she loved, a version of herself that existed before survival took over. "I don't regret choosing you," she said quickly. "But I want you to know, I was a whole woman before I was a mother." Malik swallowed hard. "You still are," he said. She smiled. "Then live like you believe that." That night, Malik understood something important. Her love wasn't ownership. It was release. Denise's health declined quietly. No dramatic moment. Just smaller breaths. Longer sleeps. Malik slept in a chair beside her bed. Counted heartbeats. Memorized her face. One morning, she didn't wake up easily. Doctors moved quickly. Machines beeped louder. Malik held her hand. "I'm here," he whispered. "I'm not going anywhere." Her eyes fluttered open just once. "I know," she breathed. That was all. She passed before sunrise. Grief didn't arrive screaming. It arrived empty. Malik handled arrangements mechanically. Accepted condolences politely. Slept without dreaming. At the funeral, the church overflowed. Nurses. Neighbors. People Malik had never met, people Denise had helped quietly over decades. Speaker after speaker said the same thing in different words. She loved deeply. She showed up. She changed my life. Malik realized something then. His mother had been rich all along. Weeks later, Malik found an envelope tucked inside her Bible. My son, if you're reading this, I'm no longer worrying over you, which is new for me. I loved you before I knew you. I loved you when I was tired. I loved you when I was afraid. And I love you now, without limits. Don't measure your life by how much you miss me. Measure it by how freely you love others. That's how I stay alive. Mom. Malik cried for the first time since the funeral. In 2026, Malik launched a non-profit, the Denise Anderson Fund, supporting caregivers and single parents pursuing education. He didn't announce it loudly. He didn't brand it aggressively. He built it the way his mother lived, quiet, steady, life-changing. When someone asked him why he did it, he answered simply, because love raised me. Sometimes, Malik still reaches for his phone. Sometimes, he still smells lavender soap and thinks of safety. But grief no longer feels like loss. It feels like inheritance. And when people ask him who he is, Malik smiles and says, I am my mother's love, still walking. The hardest lesson Malik learned after his mother's death was this. The world does not pause for grief. Emails still arrived. Deadlines still waited. Traffic still moved. People still laughed. At first, that angered him. How could life continue when his world had ended? He returned to work slowly, not because he was ready, but because staying still felt worse. His apartment felt too quiet. His phone too silent. Sometimes, in meetings, his mind drifted back to small memories. The way Denise hummed while cooking. How she folded towels with care. How she always waited until Malik got inside before driving away. One afternoon, a coworker casually asked, How's your mom doing? Malik froze. She passed, he said calmly. The apology that followed felt awkward, rushed. Malik nodded and moved on, but later, alone, he sat in his car and cried until his chest hurt. Grief didn't announce itself. It ambushed. Malik had always been independent, but never alone. There was a difference. Sundays were the worst. He still cooked too much food. Still reached for his phone at the same time every evening. He tried therapy. At first, he didn't talk much. Then one day, he said quietly, I don't know who I am without someone to protect. The therapist leaned forward. Maybe now you learn who you are when you're free. That sentence stayed with him. For the first time, Malik began asking himself questions Denise never had time to explore. What do I want? Who do I love? What does rest even look like? Malik met Aisha Brooks at a community fundraiser, one of the first events hosted by the Denise Anderson Fund. She wasn't impressed by titles. She didn't ask what he drove or where he lived. Instead, she asked, What made you start this? Malik told her the truth. She listened without interrupting. I lost my father young, she said softly when he finished. Grief changes your timing. They didn't rush anything. Their conversations were slow, intentional, gentle. Aisha didn't try to replace Denise. She didn't compete with memory. She respected it. And Malik realized something surprising. Love didn't disappear when you lost someone. It learned a new language. The first time Malik considered commitment again, fear surfaced immediately. What if I lose her too? He pulled away slightly. Became guarded. Aisha noticed. You don't owe me bravery, she said one evening. But don't punish the present for the past. Her honesty shook him. Malik went home that night and reread his mother's letter. Measure your life by how freely you love others. The next day, he told Aisha everything. His fear. His grief. His hesitation. She took his hand. Then let's walk slowly, she said. But let's walk. When Malik and Aisha married 2 years later, the ceremony was small. No extravagance. No show. Just meaning. Malik reserved a chair in the front row, with a single white rose. People asked about it. "That's my mother's seat," he said simply. Later that night, as music played softly, Malik felt something he hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not because grief was gone, but because love had expanded. When their daughter was born, Malik held her carefully, terrified and amazed. Aisha smiled tiredly. "What do you want to name her?" Malik hesitated, then whispered, "Denise." Tears filled Aisha's eyes. "She'd be honored," she said. Little Denise Anderson slept peacefully, unaware of the legacy wrapped around her name. Malik kissed her forehead. "I'll love you like she loved me," he promised. Years later, Malik stood in the same neighborhood where it all began. South Oakwood had changed, new buildings, new faces, but the spirit remained. The Denise Anderson Community Center opened that afternoon. Caregivers. Single parents. Children laughing in hallways that once echoed with struggle. A plaque stood near the entrance. "Love is not what you say. It is what you sacrifice." Malik touched the plaque gently. He didn't feel sadness. He felt gratitude. On quiet nights, Malik still talks to her. Not out loud, but in moments. When he shows patience. When he chooses kindness. When he stays. Because Denise Anderson never really left. She became action. She became legacy. She became the kind of love that doesn't end with death, but multiplies through lives. And that is the truth Malik carries forward. Some mothers don't just raise children. They raise generations.